Hey, do you know you'll start tomorrow night?
I think we're going to start Coyle and just let him go an inning or two. Just to let him start. He needs to start. And then after that, I'm not going to say it's going to be scripted, but almost. It's like an inning, 2 inning, number of pitches. We just got to do the best we can.
I asked you about Ledbetter a couple of days ago. Is he, in fact, in tomorrow night?
Yeah, he'll get to pitch tomorrow night, I would think. And he needs to pitch good. He needs to get it going. We need to get him where we can get him out there and feel good about it. And it would be big for him to give us some innings tomorrow.
You've got so many pitchers banged up that normally guys are throwing the weekend who normally would throw midweek. I mean, is it a challenge to get through Tuesday night with pitchers you don't want to use on the weekend?
Every Tuesday it is. In a perfect year, when everything's healthy and you feel good about what you got on the weekend, you know what you're going to do. You're going to start a guy, and he's going to give you 5 or 6, and he's going to start again the next week. You'd like to almost establish a midweek starter who could be your 4th starter, or if there's a little injury, or you got to try to win a game on a Monday in a regional, and he could be your guy. And we don't have that luxury. I mean, now it's almost as midweek games are. They're not in the way, but guys get to play and pitch, but it's tough. It's tough when you don't want to overdo it because we need them all on the weekend.
You mentioned Peyton Holt twisted his ankle the other day before practice. Do you know if he'll be available tomorrow?
I don't know yet. As of right now, I don't know if I'll start him. I think it's probably game time on that. So I'll probably put Harold Cole at second is my plan right now.
Is it important to maybe get McLaughlin? I mean, I know you were joking about the dugout, but I know you had him in the bullpen getting
I wasn't joking.
Yeah.
He's one of our pitchers. His first outing or 2 was pretty good. The last outing wasn't very good because he usually throws strikes. He didn't throw strikes his last outing, but he'll be on the board to pitch tomorrow.
I feel like we talk about peaking early and peaking at the right time a lot. Do you feel like you guys are in a good position with maybe getting some guys back that you can maybe peak at the right time down the stretch?
I mean, it'd be great. It peaks the word or just full go, So if it doesn't go good, at least you can live with it through the summer that it was what it was. That was your team. But we haven't peaked by any means. I mean, if we can get them healthy and feel good going into the tournament, no matter how the tournament goes, that we feel very confident going into a regional. And we still have work to do. We haven't clinched anything yet, so we're still working.
You always get big crowds in North Little Rock. The fans kind of act like, it's a College World Series or something. How do you feel about playing there and just the reception you guys get and the atmosphere and all that?
It's fun playing there. It always seems like the games are tight. The crowd's amazing. They're pretty loud when we do something. And there's been some times where we haven't done a whole lot. I mean, there's been some 2-1 games and not much going on. But I think, the players, they don't really love traveling in the middle of the week. But once we get there, I know that they're glad we're there. And that's kind of the way I look at it. I like playing there. It'd be easier to play at home. But I think that it makes it easier for the fans in that part of the state to get there if they really want to watch us.
First time Arkansas played Lipscomb, how did they wind up on the schedule?
Yeah, so the Little Rock game was one of the last games we scheduled. We didn't schedule it till this past fall. We were kind of looking for the right date, and we wanted it to be late just to kind of let their field green up, because we played there one year and you couldn't see the ball because they don't overseed it. At least they didn't in the past. So we wanted to go as late as we could. And then we just started kind of scrambling on who we were going to play. We put it out there. We started making some calls, and it worked out for them because they're done with school. And they didn't have a game this week, and that's what gives them an opportunity to drive over, spend the night, relax all day, and then go play.
The pride, I know, for this program when you got to see a guy go to the major leagues, just Dom getting that call up. How excited are you for
Oh, man, I was so excited when I sent out a group me text. So Dom sent me a text at 12:23 a.m. Saturday night. Well, I was done. I was asleep or in bed anyway. So I didn't get it. And then when I got up, I get up early, like 6 something that day, Sunday morning, and finally turned my phone on and 7:30, and there it was. I was just super happy, and so I sent out a text to all of our, the assistant coaches, the trainers, strength coaches, and just and I screenshotted it for them, and then it all started popping back. Heck yeah, or whatever. The guys were fired up about it. It was cool.
I know you'll probably go ahead, Nate.
Mississippi State hurt last time.
So Mississippi State is. So how did another coach in the league word it to me too? They both use the word dangerous because they can score. They're a lot better than their record. You just don't know what you're going to run into. And the crowds are still coming out down there. I mean, they might not get 14, but they're still getting 12, and they might get 14. I don't know, but it's a good team. They have good arms. They can hit. They're one of the best hitting teams in the league. So, we got to get through tomorrow, and then we can start focusing on them. But obviously, we know what we're in for.
Hey, with Fletcher, what do you think allowed him to get the call up?
Well, first off, he's done really well in AA, and then he got AAA, and then he's an outstanding outfielder. Like, he can play all three spots, and they probably put him in center a little bit, but there's always going to be someone faster than him, but they're not going to be a better outfielder. I've never had a player, and I mean never, that gets better reads right off the bat than him. I can remember when we first got him, and we put him in, and he was out there in some scrimmages. I was putting him in the corner, outfield, thinking, the guy runs a 6'8", 6'9", 60, which is average, but he caught everything, and then he just got better and better. I mean, there was no doubt he's going to play center field, but he can play all three outfield positions. He hits left-handed, so there's a utility guy right there, and he's hit. I mean, he was hitting like 330, almost 330 so far this season. He played in those, I guess, what they call the World Games, and did really well. I mean, and then you go to the other side of it, just him, his personality, good in the clubhouse. Players kind of gravitate to him a little bit. He's always smiling, upbeat, for the most part. And, he's going to be a guy that managers and assistant coaches in the big leagues, they're not going to want to send him back because they're just going to like having him there.
With your minor league guys, I was wondering, you'll probably pay more attention throughout the summer, but how much are you monitoring, checking box scores? I know Caden Wallace is off to a pretty good start.
Yeah,
I was wondering how much you keep up with that.
More in the summer, honestly. You can follow it through the social media a little bit more now. But it's always fun to see those guys having success. We talk about Wallace all the time being that 2-year draft, he'd be hitting in the 3-hole for this team. That'd be kind of nice, but because we thought that when we got him. He's going to be here 3 years, and then they changed the date. Man, it got too close to his birth date, and he got a chance to make a lot of money, but we always think, man, if he'd have come back this year, he'd have made a lot of money. Even in this is a really good draft year. There's a lot of talent. But yeah, we follow him as best we can, but more in the summer. I mean, example, give you guys a little heads up. So I think Arizona is in Arlington. He's going to start on Wednesday, and maybe, Tuesday and Wednesday. We were thinking, how can we get down there and get back? I know some people that have a plane, but I don't know if I want to wear that out too much. But a lot of people would trade a plane for some good tickets.
You were mentioning up there how similar the record is right now to when you were speaking, in the state last year. Last year, you guys were in such good position, and then you didn't get to host the regional. Does that matter? Do you think teaching the guys?
Last year, I've said this many times. Last year's team didn't play great at home. It was the strangest thing, And I mentioned I didn't think the 09 team played well at home either, especially from the middle of the season on. We barely got in regional. Go over to Norman and win it, and I don't know where we went after that. We won. I don't know where we went. Yeah, Florida State. I should have guessed. But this year's team really plays well at home. Maybe not so good on the road. Not like we played bad on the road, but it's just a little bit different. You never know how it's going to go, but again, it's how do they feel? And I think they feel really good about playing in front of our fans. Maybe the fans have been good to them this year. And last year at this time, I would have never guessed our records were that close if you'd have just asked me, because this year's been a fight. Last year was a little bit easier, but I think sometimes when you have to fight, it makes you better.
Your RPI is a lot better this year compared to last year too. Are you pretty satisfied with how the schedules kind of played out and everything?
Yeah, I mean, you look at that big win we got against Army. They were beating us like 5-1, and then we came back and beat them, and then now they're beating everybody. So they're helping us, and it's the midweek games, and you'd like to put some games on there where you could throw 5 freshmen in the lineup and a freshman pitcher, and you still got a really good chance to win. But usually playing that team, it doesn't help your RPI, and you guys know what I'm talking about. And so we have to really try to manage that. And like we're taking our time with the normally this time of the year we've got a bunch of our midweek games filled, and we don't hardly have any. We'll get our games. We just want to make sure we get enough teams that we feel like are going to have a better than 500 record. I mean, there's a lot of things that play into it. It just helps you, and it helps you relax a little bit knowing, okay, we're whatever in league play, a few games over 500, but our RPI is in the top 10, we should be pretty good shape to get into a regional.
Yeah, Dave, we were looking, I think you have 8 guys who have at least 1 save. That's, they're guys like the other day, they're guys saving games you probably never imagined pitching in SEC games. So as tough as the injuries are, is one positive that these guys are getting some good experience. So moving forward, like next season or maybe late this season, they've got some SEC experience in tough situations, and that's going to help them and y'all moving forward.
Were you in our meeting this morning? Were you listening to our conversation? Because that's basically what we talked about. That all these young pitchers are gaining incredible experience, maybe for this year, but really for the future, for next year. I mean, Ben Bybee can say, I've started an SEC game. I've tried to finish an SEC game. I've been, Coyle has closed the game out in a tough situation. These guys they can build off of this, and, it can propel them into the next year, into the next week or whatever. And it's been really good to see.
I was probably sleeping. What time did you guys meet?
Yeah, you were sleeping.
When you think back to the off season when you're building this roster, position player depth seemed like it was a huge point of emphasis. Are you just, when you think about it now, like how fortunate are you to have it work out the way it did?
Yeah, and you talk about depth, or you talk about you're playing backups, or you could spin it and make it more positive. We're playing future starters. That's the way I want to look at it. These guys are getting some experience, and if somebody goes down, you can plug them in, and they're not so nervous they can't play. They've gotten to play in front of some good crowds and different situations and have some success. And it just helps you. It helps you this season for the future. It's playing more guys is fun for me as a coach, so I don't have guys staring at me all the time like, hey, what about me? And it's tough, because my job is to try to win games. At the same time, these guys, we got to try to develop them. It's a tough pull.
All right, Coach. It would be funny if you go on